Whenever you're thinking about the growth of your SaaS business, you might pull together your team or your co-founder and say, hey, let's talk about our strategic growth plan. And every single time, these conversations will inevitably devolve into, well, marketing didn't do this or sales didn't do this. It'll devolve into a bunch of finger pointing and not a lot of work is gonna get done. Not a lot of strategies actually gets done. I learned this the hard way, having been in multiple executive teams and leadership teams and being a founder in a room alone trying to figure out a growth strategy. I've been through all the stages, all the way from zero to nearly a $450 million ARR business. And so here's the big question. How do you actually figure out how you're gonna hit your number? How do you actually figure out whether your go-to-market strategy is any good? How do you actually strategically plan with your team so you can drive growth and finish this next quarter or this next year or the rest of this year strong? So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 4 steps that I follow whenever I get my leadership team into a room together to actually revamp our go-to-market strategy, to ensure we're all aligned with each other on how we're gonna hit our number, and to make sure that we all create a social contract on how we're gonna actually drive growth for this coming quarter or for the rest of this year. So I'm gonna walk you through these 4 principles so you can actually use these to align your team and grow your SaaS business faster. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon because I drop an episode like this with actionable strategies 2 to 3 times a week with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this channel, if you're part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really great to see you over here. So I remember when I started to hire more senior leadership into ToutApp. And I also remember the same thing happened as I was at Marketo. We were doing our 2-year transformation, and really quickly, we were just bringing on new executives because all the old ones left. It got into some of these contentious conversations on how we were gonna drive growth and who was gonna own what and how we were gonna actually kickstart growth. It was really tough conversations, and not because the leaders were bad. They were all top of their trade. They were incredible people. This is just par for the course, because when you have a very sophisticated machine with multiple people working on different parts and they're all interconnected and interdependent, when something's not working or when you're talking about how do we make it go faster, it's very easy to point fingers and say, well, that's not working. But then they're like, well, this part is dependent and that's not working. So you can easily devolve. So if you're trying to figure out how to revamp your go-to-market strategy, how to kickstart growth, how to grow faster, how do you align your team? How do you understand what to focus on? As I've been through multiple of these conversations, I started to see some patterns on what works well. So I'm gonna walk you through the 4 steps you can follow so that you can save yourself a whole lot of heartache that I had to go through on how to actually revamp your strategic plan, revamp your go-to-market strategy, and drive growth. So if you're excited to dig into step number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let's go to step number 1. Step number 1 is you first need to just get aligned on what is our revenue target. Literally, what is our revenue target? This is super important, both on a psychological basis, but also on a tactical basis. So on a tactical basis, you should set a number. What is our growth number for this quarter or for the rest of this year, however you want to slice it up? You should set a number instead of saying, let's just grow as fast as possible. The reason this is important is when there's a number, things become real. When there isn't a number, when you're like, let's just go as fast as we can, then all of a sudden people are like, cool, we'll totally do that. But there's no benchmark, nothing to tether yourself to. From a philosophical level, from a psychological level, this is also important because now all of a sudden, the number is not something that just the VP of sales or the founder that's a little bit more sales facing owns. It is everyone. And that's inherently true because you need the VP of product, you need the VP of marketing, you need the VP of sales, you need the VP of customer success, or whoever is wearing those hats if you're earlier stage to own the revenue number, because if each of them don't do their jobs, the revenue number won't get hit for one reason or another. So super important to the first way to just drive alignment and say, look, what is our revenue target? What are we actually going for here? Once you've done that, here's the part that most people skip, but it's super important for you to actually talk about. Number 2 is how much pipeline is required. So let's actually make it really clear. So let's just say you have $1 million number, right? And step number one, you said we need to create $1 million of net new revenue. Well, here's the thing. Let's just say you get into 100 deals. Now, regardless of what kind of sales team you have or what kind of product you have, if you're doing product led and it's more trial based, you don't have a 100% conversion rate. You don't have a 100% win rate, and you don't have a 100% trial conversion rate. You just don't. You have a certain percentage. And what that means is based on what your win rate is and what your conversion rate is, you need to actually be talking to more people than you're actually going to be closing. So what that means is if you have $1 million of new business, and let's just say each one of your deals is 100K, that means you need 10 customers. You need 10 opportunities to close. Now, in order for 10 opportunities to close, let's just say your win rate is 20%. That means you need a hell of a lot more opportunities, at bats if you will, a lot more opportunities in the pipeline that you're gonna have to go through the process with to get that 10 to close at a 20% win rate. And this is why a lot of sales teams, a lot of leadership teams, a lot of marketing teams will just say, well, here's our revenue target. Let's go to it. What do we need to do? Let's put the money here. But they don't say, well, what's our pipeline commit? And the pipeline commit in a lot of ways is more important than anything else, depending on who's gonna own pipeline, right? You need to make sure, rule of thumb is you need to have a 3x to 5x pipeline coverage. What does that mean? Whatever your revenue target is, whatever this number is, you need to have a commitment that you're going to generate 3 to 5x of that. How do you choose between 3x to 5x? It depends on your win rate. The higher your win rate, you can go for 3x. If your win rate's kind of lower, if you're bringing on a whole bunch of reps, if your reps haven't been doing that well, if they're going through a sales deck and a strategic narrative where it's not resonating in the market, you're probably going to want to err towards 5x, right? You want to say, look, let's just generate 5x, then we stand a better chance of hitting our number. Are you starting to see where if you don't even do this part, you don't even stand a chance in driving growth? And so many founders forget it. I did. There were parts where I forgot to do it properly, and I didn't even know about it in certain parts of my journey. But when you learn it, you're like, oh, like this is just simple math. And if we don't hit this pipeline commit number, there's no way we're ever gonna hit this actual revenue number. So it becomes super important to look at your revenue number and then say, hey, what's our pipeline commit? And this is also super important because when you're doing this, it'll force the discussion on who owns the pipeline commit number. Is 100% of that pipeline coming from marketing? Do they have to generate it? Or is a part of that coming from, say, sales development, and the sales leader will own a part of it? And what about partnerships? Maybe you have some partnerships and the partnership person should actually take on a number as well. Which is, I was SVP of strategy, and they added on alliances to that, and I actually had an alliances number that I had to hit, which we crushed, by the way. And so it's super important to do this step too, because it drives alignment and forces the conversation on the most important thing, which is what's our pipeline commit, what's our pipeline coverage, and how do we make sure we have enough pipeline, who's gonna own it, and where is it gonna come from? That alone will increase the likelihood of you actually hitting your number. Now, there's 2 more steps as you're doing this. We're in the midway point. So let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? You're starting to see the power if you get your team together, your SaaS leadership team, you come together, or your co-founder, depending on what stage you're in, and you start to talk through these critical pieces. All of a sudden, you will never have a finger pointing match. It'll become a collective thing that you guys own, and you'll be able to talk about, well, how do we actually accomplish this number? You'll be talking in terms of logic and math and not feelings. Everything changes at that point. If you're starting to see the power in this, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And also, let me get a yes in the comments below. Tricked you, didn't I? You thought I was gonna say yes in the comments and smash the like button. I switch it up sometimes. Also, if you're in this stage where you have your leadership team and you're trying to figure out how do we revamp our go-to-market strategy, how do we craft a strategic plan to grow, how do we up-level our strategic narrative so we can differentiate in the market, this is exactly why I created my SaaS Scale Program. The SaaS Scale Program is quickly growing. It's been incredible to bring on new CEOs and their leadership teams now, where I'm actually helping them craft a growth strategy and execute on it. So if you're interested in that, go to tkkader.com/scale for more details. I'll link to it below. You don't have to go right now. Let's go to step number 3. Step number 3 is once you have these 2 things, you kind of know what you need to do, regardless of what's possible. This is literally what we need to do to get to the next stage of growth, raise the next round of funding, or survive it, whatever it may be. If you're bootstrapped or if you're venture back, whatever your goals are, you're literally talking about what do we need to do. Once you've talked about what do we need to do, then you switch to, well, what's holding us back? That's step number 3. Now, every SaaS business has certain choke points. So for example, in my SaaS Scale program, we go in depth into 27 different choke points that exist in a given SaaS business, how to diagnose it, how to think about it, how to identify it. And that's super important and powerful because it forces the team to think through, well, what are all the things that could be going wrong that holds us back from actually accomplishing our number? And this is also super powerful because people don't feel powerless. People can actually voice their concern about whether the number is real, whether they can commit to it, what's holding them back. It can be really, really constructive. And you as the CEO can start to understand, well, which one's important, which one's not, which one can we do something. You're not gonna be able to solve everything, but help you start to hone in on, well, let's diagnose this one choke point that we do have. Why do we have it? Who's responsible for it? How do we fix it? And is this something that we take on in the coming quarter or through the rest of the year? And that's super powerful as well. So step number 3 is what's holding us back, actually driving that conversation now that you actually know what your numbers are and what kind of pipeline coverage you need, the work that needs to be done. Now, once you've done these 3, you'll not only get a good understanding of what's ahead, what's required, you'll also get a good understanding of what's holding you back. And then at this point, a lot of CEOs will say, cool, let's just go do all those things, and they just leave and nothing happens. Why? The reason nothing happens is because you truly didn't get alignment, you didn't get commitment, and you didn't get a social contract in place to say, hey, we're gonna go do these things. These are the people responsible for it. And if we do these things, then we're gonna generate the pipeline. If we do those things, then we're gonna generate the business that we need and we're gonna grow the way we need to. This is why step number 4 is super important. Step number 4 is what are the 3 to 5 objectives and KPIs that you would commit to? Super simple. If you have all these things you need to do, you're not going to be able to do all of them. So now your team will say, well, what are the things we can commit to? 3 to 5 things. And how do we know we've actually accomplished them? This is super powerful because if you do this in the right way, then you'll be able to actually say, all right, here are all the things that we need to consider, but these are the most pressing ones. These are things that we can commit to. And let's start to figure out how we put a plan towards this. And this is how a plan comes together so you can actually accomplish your revenue target, which is super important. How do you do this? Well, my favorite way of doing this is to actually use the OKR framework. OKRs are objectives and key results. Super powerful. If you want to dig more into how OKRs work, be sure to check out this video. In this video, I go deeper into how to actually think about OKRs and how to actually diagnose the right pieces and how to actually get alignment with your team. It's super, super powerful. So I would check out that OKR. You don't have to go right now. I'll link to it below because I have one more thing for you. So let's recap first. There's 4 key steps to revamping your go-to-market machine, kickstarting growth, creating a strategic plan, and actually getting alignment. These are the 4 steps. Number 1, start with what is our revenue target? Our, meaning we're all responsible for it. Number 2, how much pipeline is required to hit that revenue target? Super easy math, but it is super eye-opening when you actually look at it. You'll need a lot more pipeline to hit that number. Who's gonna own it? How's it gonna come together? Number 3, what's holding us back, right? What are the choke points in the business? And number 4, which ones do we solve? How do we overcome them? How do we measure them? Who owns what? So that we can create a strategic plan to go solve those choke points, build that pipeline, and hit that growth number. Those are the 4 steps that I followed with my teams. Different size teams, different stage SaaS businesses. I've been part of a SaaS business that went from 0 to 7 million ARR. We sold that business. Then I was part of a $450 million ARR business, and we did a 2-year transformation, and then we sold it to Adobe for $4.75 billion. Through all these different stages, these patterns always emerged because it just helped us cut through all the crap, all the finger pointing, and get to what truly matters and get alignment going. And that's the power in this. Now, if you're in this stage where you have a leadership team and you're trying to figure out how do we revamp our go-to-market strategy? How do we up-level our strategic narrative to actually differentiate in the market? How do we actually generate sufficient pipeline? How do we identify the choke points we have in our business? Maybe it's just not in our go-to-market, maybe it's other parts also. Maybe churn is an issue. And how do we actually align my team around OKRs? If you're working through these pieces and you don't want to go at it alone, this has been created by demand because enough CEOs approached me, they wanted it, so I created it. So this is why I created my SaaS Scale Program. My SaaS Scale Program is designed to work with CEOs and their leadership teams to help guide them in crafting a go-to-market strategy, a growth strategy, up-leveling the strategic narrative and helping them grow faster. I've been onboarding more and more CEOs into this program. It's been truly a pleasure to work with this scale companies again. My go-to-market program is more about the early stage, right? And this is more about how do you really scale faster. And so it's been an honor to work with these CEOs. And so we are accepting new members into the program, especially given now the time of the year. A lot of CEOs are thinking about how do we actually make sure we finish this year strong, make next quarter really strong. And these are the key pieces you need to follow. And inside of the Scale program, you'll get the framework to follow step by step on how to actually diagnose your SaaS business, what data to pull, what are the choke points, how to align your team. And you also get my coaching. So it's a full end-to-end program to help you grow your SaaS business faster. If that's you and you're interested in joining, just go to tkkader.com/scale. You'll get all the information around the program, and there will be a link in there to join the program where we can get on a call, discuss your needs, and make sure that you're the right fit so we can actually help you, and then we're off to the races from there. So just go to tkkader.com/scale. Also, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, if there's videos that I mentioned in this episode, I know I mentioned at least one, maybe two, I'll link to those below as well, so you can go check those out. Also, if you got value, remember, we do 2 to 3 episodes on how to scale your SaaS business faster across all stages, 2 to 3 times a week. So be sure to subscribe button and that bell icon if you haven't already. And lastly, if you have a fellow CEO, fellow founder that would get value from a video like this, if you're part of a Slack group, a mastermind, if you'd like to share this video, it would mean the world to us. We put a lot of love into these videos to help as many SaaS founders as possible. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode.